what's up? Back here, Ninja Kid fam. We are here with Tyler Yamauchi. We're ready to interview him. He's a personal trainer, a gym owner. He's the guy you got questions for, so let's get started. Tyler, why don't you go ahead, get started, maybe introduce your kids here that are joining us. That's awesome. Obviously, you're a dad, you're a gym owner, you're a physical therapist. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm Tyler Yamauchi. This is my daughter Ari on the left, and then Mai's on the right here. And my background's mainly in gymnastics. I did it collegiately, competed internationally for the U.S., and then retired, decided not to continue down the route for, I guess, being pro gymnastics. There's not really a big career in that, unfortunately. Sure. I love the sport, but it just doesn't treat its athletes well, especially long term. So I always wanted to be a physical therapist ever since I always wanted to be a physical therapist since high school, really.
Okay.
And it was my dream to open up physical therapy practice inside of a gymnastics gym.
Oh, cool.
And that's actually what I ended up doing this January.
Oh,
so I went,
awesome.
Yeah, I was practicing for about 4.5 years before that, and then decided to make the leap and and do it. It's scary, but it was definitely worth it.
Very cool. So, so you got into Ninja Warrior because of your gymnastics background then?
Yeah, well, actually, I always wanted to try it, but back then it was only in Japan. And I'm like, well, I'm Japanese. Maybe I'll be able to make it out one day.
Sure.
But I never spoke any Japanese. I'm fourth-generation Japanese American, so my parents don't even speak it, but my wife does.
Okay.
And so I'm picking up from them, and my oldest one knows way more Japanese than me already. Crazy.
Yeah, they pick it up fast.
Yeah, but no, I always watched it back when Sasuke in Japan, and I remember watching Paul Hamm not make it up the warp wall, and I'm like, he's taller than me and just as athletic. If he can't get it, there's no way I can get it. So then it was never a possibility of me trying. But then Casey made it up the warp wall, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm taller than her, and she made it up, so I should definitely be able to make it up. So that's when I started actually training for it, and that was 3 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's awesome. And so how tall are you?
I'm 5'1".
5'1". Yep. That's awesome.
So I haven't done her and Barclay. Barclay is shorter than me too. So.
Yeah. And Barclay last night just made it up the warped wall. And so that was super fun and exciting to see. Very cool.
Yeah.
We're going to eventually get to some personal training and maybe injury prevention questions. But first, we got some super fan questions. We got the first one from Eric Totten from North Jersey Ninjas. Ben's going to ask the question.
What is your favorite grip strength exercise?
My favorite grip strength exercise? Actually, I do not like grip strength training. Okay. I'm not at it. So, it's not my favorite, but what I end up doing that I found pretty effective is just dead hangs.
Yep.
And most people will shake out, so I'll just do dead hang for a minute, and then I'll rest 30 seconds because that's kind of what you get on the show. And then dead hang for a minute, rest 30 seconds, dead hang for a minute, and do as many rounds as you can. I usually just get like 4 or 5 rounds in.
Okay.
But so if there's 4 or 5 upper body obstacles, if you can hang from a minute each one, you shouldn't be hanging that long on the show.
Sure.
So that's kind of how I train grip strength for the show.
Gotcha.
And, it seems to be effective.
Yeah, grip strength training is never like fun, it seems like. But it's obviously important, and and I love it. Many ninjas say that one of the best things you can do is just hang. I mean, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not glorious. Everyone can do it anywhere, but it's boring. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, we got another question. So Jason, my other son's normally with us, but he's got the flu right now, so he wasn't able to join us, unfortunately. But so Ben's going to be asking Jason's questions.
Okay.
We had a change in plans this morning. So the second question is from Ninja Kid Nate.
What is your ideal workout?
My ideal workout. Does that mean time-wise? Does that mean type? Is that anything?
It's pretty generic, so you just answer it however you feel.
All right. I mean, I guess an ideal workout for me would be anything that involves definitely calisthenics, so only body weight.
Yep.
So whether it's ninja, whether it's just I'll do my rounds of push-ups, pull-ups, dips, handstand push-ups, handstand holds, stuff like that. Is typically what I would do as like a home workout. I enjoy ninja training, so a ninja training is an ideal workout for me because you don't have to spend that much time doing it, and you're playing, you know.
Absolutely.
But get like 4 or 5 rounds doing some obstacle runs, and then you're done, and then you got a workout in, and you're happy.
Yeah, and it's making fitness fun. That's what I love about Ninja Warrior. Like. My mom always called me a monkey as a kid, and it's like now there's a sport for that, and it's you can like train and have fun at the same time. Like and I think that's key for like future fitness. Like if you make fitness fun, like people keep doing it. Oh hey. Okay, another super fan question from Jaden Cortez.
How do you feel when you finish the course?
Relieved, excited. I mean, all of the above. I mean, when you hit the buzzer, there's nothing like that. Even for like most of us, when we get to the warp wall, that's actually when you feel like you've beaten the course.
Totally.
Because you're not going to gain anything more. Is either you got it or you don't. Yeah. So most of us who train it. I know we can do the warp wall.
Yeah.
But after after that fifth obstacle, it's like yes. I just
Yeah.
And usually it's after the balance obstacle I'm most worried.
Yeah, the balance obstacles seem to take out a lot of ninjas, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's always the wild card, you know. Anyone can fall on it. You can have a bad step, but...
and that's all part of it, for sure. So the final super fan question from a fan you probably know, you've competed with in both Indianapolis last year and Kansas City this year, Tyler Rice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He asked the question, what was the most difficult obstacle to overcome opening a ninja gym?
So that one kind of fell in my lap.
Okay.
So I had my PT practice outside of a ninja gym, or a gymnastics gym, sorry.
Yep.
And one day he was like, hey, if you know somebody who would be willing to run a program, let me know. And I'm like, I'll run a program.
I know a guy, right?
Yeah, right. And then I knew I couldn't do it by myself, so I had to find a partner. And he helped build, and he also helps run the classes because my schedule's just crazy. It's not the same every week, so I can't even. If I was gonna run a ninja program, you have to have at least Mondays and Saturdays every day, at this time. So with him working there, we're able to do that for sure every week too.
Cool. So now getting into some more questions regarding physical therapy and all that, and Ninja Warrior specifically. What are some common injuries that you're seeing from like ninja training, or I know you work on a lot of ninjas, and what's some common injuries you're seeing?
So one of the most common is gonna definitely be like elbow tendonitis. Yeah. So usually on like the pinky side or your ulnar side, that's where all your wrist flexors come from. They'll call it golfer's elbow.
Yeah.
They only call it golfer's elbow because it's from the inside. It has nothing to do with golf. And ninjas get it probably way more than golfers anyways. That's from too much grip strength and not enough soft tissue, not enough flexibility.
Okay.
And usually what happens is when it becomes painful down into this area, it's not too late, but it's like already too late. Like you've been tight for probably months before that. It wasn't like, oh, okay, I did this once and now it's like that. It's like, no, it was just an accident waiting to happen.
Yep.
And so you just be preventive about it. They've got all these different types of tools you can use to kind of soft tissue and just make sure that your forearms and wrists stay flexible throughout training. And if you need to take a few days off, that's fine. So everyone sometimes just gets too caught up in the mindset of, okay, I need to, being an athlete and doing all that other stuff, like progress is not linear. You don't just go from here and it doesn't keep rising up.
Yeah.
Like you'll have peaks and valleys. Like you're gonna do well and you have good grip strength, and then it's gonna tumble down a little bit, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's what you do at that time. Some people freak out and then they increase their load, and then it's too much, and then they get an injury.
Yes.
The shoulder is also a huge factor in ninja. Just because the moves are so dynamic, some people shouldn't be doing it yet, but see people doing it, or maybe you had a bad lache and you're just like, I'm gonna hold on, and then you can either sprain or strain your rotator cuff, or you do something to your labrum.
Okay.
And so I think that's very typical within the ninja community.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably the most. Those two are the most.
Yeah. So in terms of preventing some of those injuries, obviously you kind of touched on, like, number one, listen to your body, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you ignore your body and keep pushing harder and harder, it's only going to make it worse. But what other kinds of things can we do to prevent some of those injuries?
I mean, so people don't stretch really.
Yeah.
And I always try to, if you're going to stretch before you work out, and if you can after. Usually we don't have time after.
Yeah.
But if you stretch before, you might start realizing, oh wow, that's a lot tighter today. Or, man, yeah, I wasn't this tight last week or last month. And then that's like how you can do checkups on yourself. Because like I said, it doesn't usually happen, like especially like medial epicondylitis, it doesn't usually happen in just one instant.
Yes.
It's kind of just like the camel, or the straw that broke the camel's back,
Yep.
And you blame it on, I was reaching for this really hard, and then, I ended up pulling it or whatever. Actually, the other thing that I noticed too, especially with my age at 32 that I didn't have to worry about when I was 24, is I have to warm up really good.
Yes.
Like literally for the TV show, when I think I'm 3 hours out of competing, I start warming up.
Okay.
Like 40 minutes of stretching, just nice and slow. I stretch for 40. Then I get my heart rate up a little bit in the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And then I get into like a warm-up, like where I'm actually doing calisthenics and dynamic stuff.
Yep.
Because on the show, that's all it is,
Yeah.
So, and then when I do that, I actually get tired. I'll get a pump in, I'll get fatigued, but then I'll still have 30, 40 minutes before I run the course, so I recover.
So what kind of exercises do you do to warm up?
Yeah, so definitely I just do static stretching at first, then I'll do some dynamic stretching. So static stretching is when you actually just hold it, work on getting flexibility, I guess. And then dynamic stretching is when you do more of like the bouncing and the loading, and that's just to kind of like warm up the muscles and the tissue.
Yeah.
Then for like my cardio or heart rate, I'll just do like some sprints up and down. Some lunges in place, some jumping lunges, some jumps. They got a mini tramp there, so I'll hit the mini tramp a few times.
Okay.
And do all that within maybe like 8-10 minutes of relatively non-stop. So then, you get your heart rate up, and then I'll cool down and just sit around and watch a little bit. For my forearm and grip, I'll usually use I think it's like a gyro ball. Those little ones with like the ball and the string and you pull it.
Okay.
I like that because you can just stand and then work on that, get a little pump in, switch hands, do that for like 5-6 minutes, and then I'll end up getting onto the bar. I'll do like some muscle ups, like 10 muscle ups, some clapping pull-ups.
Wow,
hips, and then even I'll just do some like big swings with half turns, because that's what I do is gymnastics. It's pretty easy, but half turns, and then I'll lache to the bar, lache back, That's. And one of the main things too with even physical therapy, they always say, they always talk about function.
Yeah.
Form meets function, and if you look at research and other things like that with sport-specific stuff, it's all about specificity. So when you're training, you want to be specific to what you're doing. So like if you wanted to be better at vertical limit, you can do as much grip strength as you want. If you're not practicing on vertical limit, you're not going to get better.
Right.
It's the same thing with like a basketball player. If he sucks at free throws, he better not be shooting 3-pointers.
Right.
You have to practice the free throw, know? So like whatever you're trying to get better at, the more you can replicate that, maybe break it down some, but the more you can replicate that skill you're trying to get, the better you're going to be at that skill, and you're going to learn the right muscles and motor patterns and all that other stuff. So
yeah, and get that into muscle memory, so when it comes time, you have to just react instantly.
Yeah,
it's there.
Right. Yeah, right. You know what to do mentally. Your body knows what to do.
Yep.
And when you both are on the same page, you're going to have good efficiency.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, I love that. Kind of final question for you. I won't take too much of your time. So, like many sports, Ninja Warrior is getting bigger, more popular. It's becoming a sport, which means kids are getting more involved in it at a younger and younger age. What do we need to be thinking as parents about kids being involved at a young age? You know, do we have to worry about their fingers, ligaments, and all of that?
You know, unfortunately, I think it's less age, and it's just more skill. You know, and then probably the intensity and hours that they're doing.
Sure.
You know, you don't want your 6-year-old there for 7 hours a day.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But like, because even with gymnastics, like there's not an age limit. You know, everything it's calisthenics. It's your own body weight. You're only really going to be able to do what you can do.
Gotcha.
You know, like if we were talking about Olympic weightlifting, you know, like there's not a lot of good research on Olympic weightlifters who start when they're 8 years old because they're worried about growth plates and damage and that type of stuff.
Yep.
So that's not until more later adolescence that people even just describe like, yeah, you know, maybe they should start hitting the weightlifting gym, you know?
Yep.
Because everyone's too scared because there's no research on it. They don't want to be wrong about it.
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
Calisthenics is, you know, if they can't do it, they can't do it.
I gotcha.
You know, like, so if you can't hold on to the obstacle, then you fall down.
Yeah.
And as long as there's padding, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, so like you'll only be able to get what you can get.
I gotcha.
And I think, you know, like having coaches there is probably super key, super important, because if they're just free run of stuff, then they might be doing things that are a little too dangerous.
Right.
You know?
Because they saw it on the show.
Yeah. Or like, oh, okay, yeah, let's move this even further. It's like, you should not be doing that right now. You barely made this one. Yeah. So, yeah. And it's hard to say, I guess, because I saw one kid, he did like a 10-foot lache from like rings or something onto a cliffhanger, and he was maybe 10 or 12. I mean, it's super impressive, but I mean, yeah, like something like that may not be the safest thing for most kids that age, but he's probably exceptionally strong, right? And maybe what he's best at doing, so that's what he could do. But then the problem is people who aren't that good go, oh, he can do it, I can do it.
Yep.
So
I gotcha. So then with and obviously kids don't even know what the word warm up is, right?
Right.
Definitely not cool down. But so I'm 36, so I knew exactly what you're saying when you're saying you need to warm up. But it's probably even important for kids to warm up, right? And get some
absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, well, it's funny because when I watch. Now I've been coaching like more ninja classes. It's funny how, you know, I'll say, oh, like just like a calf stretch, you know, you get on all fours and you put that heel down, stretch it out, and I look around and the kids are in the position, but they're not even doing it correctly because they just don't really get it. They're not sure what they're supposed to be doing. So it's like, okay, we have to like actually break this down because like for anyone who's like 21 and older, that's just like, you know what to do. So when I
and you feel it.
and I'm like, they don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We have to like, so like, you have to actually teach them how to stretch, unfortunately, or fortunately, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what about repetitive use injuries at a young age? I mean, is that something that you worry about or not?
You know,
and maybe that goes to you saying, you know, don't let your kid be in there for 7 hours. You know?
Yeah, you know, I want to say, I'm not sure how many kids get like the forearm, you know, like, you know, colitis and stuff. I haven't really seen it much or heard about it much, but then again, I'm not, you know, I've only started this for the past year or so. But yeah, usually they're like, they recover pretty quickly. And like the thing that they do that we don't do as adults is they're always constantly moving and doing things. And they already have a good amount of flexibility. What happens with us when we become 18, 19 to 25 is we've been in school all day long. Yeah. We sit at a desk. We've just done a lot of stagnant stuff, and we actually don't do activity.
Totally.
So that's how we end up losing most of our mobility. So kids usually just keep moving, and if they're sore, then usually they'll just back off for a day or two, and kids heal so fast.
Yeah, they do.
My like athletes that I see for gymnastics, if they were an adult, they'd be there for like 4 more weeks, and like I'll see results in like 3 visits, which is like a week and a half sometimes, and it's just like, wow, your symptoms were really bad, and like I can't, and it's just because they're younger, they turn over so much quicker.
Yep.
So, even if they do have something going on, I think usually even just some rest for them is all they need.
Yep. Yeah, that totally makes sense, which sometimes is the hardest thing, to slow them down. I know that is the case for my kids, my boys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. So shout out to your gym, Muscle Ball Gym, is that right?
Muscle Ball Fitness.
Muscle Ball Fitness, okay. Yeah, and it's Western Chicago?
Yeah, like northwest suburbs. It's in like Schaumburg. It's probably one of the major towns around that area. So.
Yeah, if you guys are in the area, make sure you go hit up their gym, go check it out, say hi to Tyler.
Oh.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tyler. Thank you for your time. Thanks for sharing all your knowledge and wisdom. And we'll be cheering you on in Kansas City in a couple weeks.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Tyler.
All right.
See ya.